Um, yeah, so we're recording. So welcome to the second episode of
Episode 2 of Retrograde, the podcast,
Correct.
where we talk about a bunch of random shit.
Yeah, the shit that we're absolutely buck wild for. And in the spirit of that, I know that we had said that we were going to talk about BookTube, but I brought 0 BookTubers over because I am going to go for a different niche YouTube experience.
Yeah, I think
instead.
Talking about YouTube in general and like what content you're consuming on YouTube is great.
Yeah. So I mean like, and I was thinking about it and I was like, BookTube is pretty niche. And like that audience of people who
Super
are
niche.
into BookTube and who are like doing BookTube videos, like they're a pretty, one-off community. They have their own verbiage and it's like such a weird world to get into. And I feel like I'm still an outsider to some of the things. Like they'll like say these abbreviations and I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's fun. I tried to dabble in it for a little and I just like could not do it because I can't commit to anything. And I also don't know how to speak on anything and I'm so bad at articulating my thoughts. So like any kind of book review, I'd be like, yeah, it's okay.
Starts a podcast because you can't articulate shit.
I actually don't know how to speak or formulate thoughts. Well, I'm going into this episode with absolutely 0 notes, so I guess we'll see how that goes.
Okay, this is great because I literally wrote podcast Retrograde. And that's
literally the name of the podcast.
I have a whole ass book open as if I have notes and I don't. I actually do not, so.
You're killing me, that's so funny.
So I know that you went first last time, so I'm gonna go first and spearhead my own adventure into this. So the community that I'm gonna be talking about, I don't think they have like such a distinct name because it's a little bit vague what I'm talking about. But what do you know about like the scientists that are on YouTube? And I'm not talking about like established scientists like Bill Nye, who are, who have content on YouTube, but YouTubers who have made their career off of being like STEM people on YouTube.
Huh. Well, I remember when I was in high school, middle school or high school, there was a big trend of people like microwaving shit and like putting that on YouTube. So I think that's kind of science-y. I also know the slow-mo guys, which are kind of science-y. They like blow balloons up with water in them and they slow it down a bunch and then they like shoot things with cannons and slow it down. And I think that's kind of interesting because I used to watch stuff like that on like Mythbusters when I was a baby. And that's about it. And then I watched I've seen a couple of like like scientists look at lipsticks and like there was a whole like Jaclyn Hill controversy and there was like hair in the lipsticks and so I didn't actually watch any videos of that, but I saw a ton of those videos and I don't know if that counts.
Yeah, I mean, so I say STEM because I want to keep it pretty broad. But those are really great examples. I think slow-mo guys is an interesting thing that you brought up because, like, I wouldn't consider them scientists, but maybe it's because, like, I only started watching slow-mo guys because I watched the Let's Play content that they put out, and then I got into this, like, weird side channel shit that that British guy, I think his name is Gavin, does.
Gavin, exactly.
God,
he's so funny
idiot.
because I also watched his Let's Plays and he's a part of Rooster Teeth, which is like a bigger gaming channel.
I used to be obsessed with Rooster Teeth. I watched their Minecraft Let's Plays constantly. The Tower Pimps. I wanted a Tower Pimps so badly. Oh my god.
Yeah, so like when I found out that Gavin from that Minecraft series where he is absolutely buck wild and feral and like destroying things and like just being absolutely fucking off the rails when I found out that he was a part of the Slow-Mo Guys and was like creating this content that was like so visually interesting and also like probably like takes so much intelligence to figure out and do. Like, I was in shock.
It's creatively like a very interesting venture that he's done, and like the way that you have to think about like how to make this look the best, how to keep everything in check. Like you said, it's very technically involved too. What they're doing. So it was really interesting to see that, because like you watch him and you're like, this is episode like 400 of their Let's Play series, and he still doesn't know how to mine a tree, and you're just like, how does this man, like, how is he alive? Like, he got his fucking driver's license at the ripe old age of like, I think like 26 or something like that, and you're like, how have you made it on this earth? Like, living in fucking Texas. Like, I'd understand New York. New York, it's like, yeah, makes sense. Austin? What the fuck? How did you get anywhere? They were like, yeah, we took him to the fucking airport because he can't fucking drive himself. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's like not sustainable whatsoever.
But those are not the YouTubers that I'm going to be talking about. Because I actually don't think, like, no offense, but I don't think those are scientists. The Jaclyn Hill thing is interesting, but I think that it wouldn't count for me just because, like, these are established scientists who are, like, doing a lot of stuff, but it's through a corporation. Like, it's not like they're creating their own self-made, like, YouTube channels. It's actually just to, like, prove something or, like, to support a point. Like, I know it's become a thing where, like, corporations will be like, oh, interesting, like, we're gonna bring an actual tattoo artist to look at tattoos, or, like, an actual pastry chef will look at this, and, like, whatever. But I think that would more fall under the genre of, like, either reaction commentary or, like, almost like a vlog style, but just more of, like, a one-off.
Also, can I add one more that I know?
Yes.
YouTube channel, one more. The Boston logistics robotic thing of those robots that, like, people kick over and they like stand back up and stumble. Does that count?
Yeah.
That's like actual science.
Yeah. I love those. So speaking of robotics, that's like such a big part of YouTube now. Like, it's really becoming like this interesting thing. I think people are getting more and more into robotics as their like first thing into STEM, which is interesting because it's normally like a hard science like chemistry or biology that gets them in. But robotics and like engineering and coding have become like a lot more as like tech has grown. And so like Simone Gertz is like one that I had watched like since I was a kid on YouTube, like literally like early days, and she's like the queen of making shitty robots. Like, that's her whole thing. And I'm sure like a lot of people have seen her content on like Tumblr, because her GIFs used to circle around, and it's like the one where she has the robot put her lipstick on, so it's literally just this robot arm that tries to put lipstick on her face, and it just like gets everywhere, and it's disgusting that she like doesn't react to it, and she does all this stuff, but it's all in the vein of like comedy and making things fun and accessible for people. So I think she had kind of kicked off a lot of this interest in the way that scientists had kind of like presented this information to the public in a way that's like very digestible.
For sure.
She had definitely pioneered a lot of that. She went through a whole thing where she like had brain cancer, and it was like this crazy recovery that she had to go through. So she stopped making content, and she was just like, hey, I actually need to like take care of this, which was wild. And now she's back and making like more videos and stuff, which is just insane. She made a coffee table recently out of matches, and it's really nice actually. Like, it's really, really nice. It's beautifully designed. And she like sketched it out herself. She like put it all together, and it's just like, it's really accessible, even though you definitely watch it and go, I could not do that. It like
Right.
leaves you with this sense with like maybe I can, like if I had enough time and like if I had enough, like she definitely lays it out in a way where it's very accessible, and kind of funny and, you know, fun and all in the name of like jokes. Like she has this one video where she is like, for some odd reason, it's always solving a problem that like doesn't need to exist, but she had ended up strapping this toy baby into a stroller off of a I don't know why I'm blanking on the word, drone, off of a drone. So she flies this drone around in a park with a baby strapped to it, and it's just so fucking funny because people are looking on going like, is that a real baby?
Surprise.
Yeah, it's so wild. But, like, and now there's, like, younger YouTubers who are doing stuff. So, like, Michael Reeves is another big YouTuber, and he makes these ones that are, like, I think the most popular one that he's made is, like, the Roomba that screams when it bumps into stuff. And he,
I
like,
have not seen that, but that sounds so
my
funny.
God, it is so fucking funny. It, like, he literally just bumps into shit, and it'll play off of a piece of audio that's like pre-recorded, and it just like curses every time it bumps into the wall. It'll be like, boom, shit, fuck, god damn it. So good. It is so hilarious, and it's like really funny.
Yeah.
The reason why I had ended up picking this is because last weekend we had a bunch of extra Rice Krispies. And so I was like, I'll make Rice Krispie treats. And so I tried to make Rice Krispie treats, but somehow I fucked it up. And it ended up kind of like hard and dry. I think I like didn't measure enough marshmallows, so it ended up kind of disproportionate. So they were like kind of dry and kind of hard. And my brother goes, you put sawdust in here? And I was like, Mitch, they're not that bad, you piece of shit. And he goes, no, I was referencing a video. And so he, like, played it all for us, and it was this William Osmond video where he was like, how much sawdust can you put into a Rice Krispie treat before people start to notice?
Oh my God, he was feeding people sawdust?
I mean, it was sawdust that, like, after, I since watched the video, and it's sawdust that is safe to eat.
Oh my God.
Which I didn't know it even existed.
Yeah,
but
what kind of... whatever. Anyway.
It's sawdust that that is non-toxic. Let me clarify. It's not meant for human consumption, but it will not give you, it's not like treated with chemicals. Like the wood is not treated, so you can eat it.
So it won't kill you.
Essentially. It won't poison you.
Okay.
So he was like, oh, like they had described the texture in the video, and it was like, oh, your Rice Krispie treats are like 50% sawdust. And I was like, thanks, Mitch, you little bastard boy.
Oh my God.
But I ended up on this like fucking spiral of YouTube videos of just like these guys and gals who go on and they like just test shit. They will just like answer these questions that don't need to be answered in ways that are absolutely ridiculous and absurd to the nth degree, but I love it. It's literally such amazing and like very, very technical videos, but they're so fun and accessible, and I think that they are nice in a way that like no one has to really be, you know, into whatever that thing is to understand what's happening or to appreciate the gravitas of like what they're doing and understand the process behind it. Like it's always, always, always explained in a way where it like doesn't make you feel stupid for not knowing like coding or like not knowing what a Raspberry Pi is or like anything like that. Like they always explain things that it's like quick, easy, but also like to the point and effective. So I really love these videos, and I really enjoy them. And I'm remembering now that like we actually didn't we didn't set a question to answer.
Oh, at the end?
Yeah. After you go through yours, but
right.
like there's no question to answer.
Maybe like take each of a YouTuber that we talk about and they have to make a video together. What would the collab title be?
Oh my god, I love that. Oh my god, I literally love that.
Okay, great. So that'll be the question.
Yeah. But that's everything that I have on the YouTubers, that like this niche community that I don't really have a name for.
Yeah, I think that whole, genre of video of like making like silly science like really accessible to the public is really great. And like just going back to that woman who makes like stupid robots, like I remember seeing one on Tumblr in like 2015 of like a robot with a ketchup bottle, and it like goes to squirt it on a hot dog and then like squirts ketchup all over the table, and like it's like when you see it, or when I saw it, like 5 years ago, I was like, oh my god, that's so funny and like so stupid, and like look at that robot squirting ketchup. But like there's like, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like someone spent time doing that and like formulating and like building this robot, and like I don't know, like it's just kind of crazy to me that like people are out here like using their knowledge and like degrees and like brain power to create content.
Yeah. There was one that I actually didn't get to mention, but his name is Nile Red, and he makes these specifically like chemistry videos, and the one that I watched recently was like, I mean, he'll do stuff like pulling all the bismuth out of a bunch of Pepto. Like, why?
Like, that's so cool.
But he literally was like, I am gonna pull all this lidocaine out of anal lube, and he like just
Oh.
So he buys this lube and he goes, this is the finest lube because there are no surfactants and it has the highest percentage of lidocaine. And I'm like, okay, well, you didn't have to start that sentence off with, this is the finest lube.
That's so funny.
Okay, I didn't know they put lidocaine in lube.
Because
lidocaine is literally like, it numbs you. Like, dentists use it to numb your mouth while they perform certain, like, procedures, like oral procedures. And they put that shit in lube.
That's, like, kind of scary. I'm not even gonna lie.
Right? Like, why would you need that?
Ew, I don't like that.
But anyways, he has, like, a half-hour video on how to do that shit, and it's so good. Like, I don't know why I'm, like, addicted to watching this shit.
Because you're science. You got a science brain. You're, like, interested in shit like that.
Bro, I, like, don't use my degree, so what's the fucking point?
Yeah, but you studied it for 4 years.
God, don't remind me.
You took all those classes and shit. I don't know.
God damn it. I was in a class with fucking the dumbest people, I swear.
PA majors that are the stupidest people you'll ever meet in your life, but that's a different...
Dumbest bitches.
That's a different episode.
Episode where we just drag everyone we went to school with.
We rank the worst majors on our college campus. What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to talk about how it's funny how Gavin from Rooster Teeth has this, like... He's, like, not even something that you would even consider, like, science, but
no.
He has this silly YouTube channel where he, like, blows shit up in slow-mo. But we watch another gaming channel. I watch it. You also watch a couple episodes, called Neebs Gaming.
Yes.
And it's a bunch of these southern dudes just sitting online playing Battlefield and Minecraft. Another great Minecraft series. So good.
Incredible.
And one of them, his name is Simon, and he's like some Jersey dude or some dude from Brooklyn, like somehow found his way down to Tennessee or wherever the fuck they are recording. And he's like, has no idea how to play any games always, but he's always on everything. And he's absolutely buck wild like Gavin. And he started this YouTube channel where he created this robot that squeezes ketchup bottles. And he has a whole YouTube channel.
What?
Of this robot.
Simon has a separate one-off YouTube channel where he does that shit? What?
Yeah. I wonder if it's the Minecraft series where he talks about it, but there's one series where he talks about it, and he's like, my ketchup channel, like, really popped off. I got, like, 10,000 subscribers. And, like, I was like, oh, wow, really?
I'm sure they're all roasting him for it, but also, like...
Oh, for sure. So, I don't know. I think that correlation between Rooster Teeth and Neebs Gaming is kind of funny. But also, like, what... All these mechanical things. Making robot arms and shit. I don't know.
That's wild because, like, I watch... Like, they'll do one-off videos where they'll play these games that really don't... Like, aren't fit for a full series, but they still play... together, and
Neebs?
You know, they'll come up with one episode for it. Yeah. Just because it's a little bit easier to watch than the series where they're like building off of whatever they've done in the past episodes.
Oh, for sure.
And they're all so dumb when they have to start from scratch on something. They are all very bad at the game. Like they're do you know the game Who's Your Daddy, where like
Yes.
It was in beta and it's literally like just you have to you either play as the baby or the dad, and you have to kill yourself as the baby, and if you're the dad, you have to stop your baby from dying.
Yes.
And they are both so, like, everyone played in every single variation of people in the Neebs Gaming circle, like, played as either character in every variation, and every single variation, they all sucked at whatever character they were playing. Like,
Yes,
the only reason that any kind of gameplay happened was because either whoever was playing as a baby just couldn't figure out how to kill themselves, or the dad just couldn't figure out how to stop the baby from killing itself. And it was just this back and forth of, like, screaming, like, Southern screaming. Like, I don't know, they don't know how to play the game, even though they're all playing against each other, and it's like...
And they do like 40 rounds and they like still don't know how to play it.
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite thing about that channel and Simon specifically is that they do a lot of series. They do like Grand Theft Auto, they do Minecraft, a really great Minecraft series. They do like an Ark survival series, which is like a dinosaur game. And
Love Ark.
like these are all like super long series. Like I think the Minecraft series is like 60 episodes, or like, you know, Ark is, or they do a, not Left 4 Dead, it's like a 7 Nights to Die or something, 7 Days to Die, which is like a zombie game. That series has literally over 100 episodes that they had to like make a super cut of like, here's episodes 1 through 50, and like, it's 3 hours long. But one of my favorite things is that it's literally like episode 45, and Simon rolls in on Minecraft and is like, how do I use a shovel? Like, he'll just be like, I don't know how to do this thing. And everyone's like, Simon, we've literally been playing this game for 7 months.
Did you mean Gavin Free and
Literally.
Rooster Teeth literally like trying to play fucking Minecraft all over again?
So funny. So I think that's my favorite thing. And we're off track. Let me reel it back in. Do you want to rank the top 3 favorite YouTube science videos you've watched since you've been binging them?
Yeah. I am gonna say the top one is Microwave That Screams. No, the Microwave That Turns On When You Scream, which is by Michael Reeves. That one is so funny. It is incredible because he hates it. He like didn't want to do this project at all, but like apparently everyone had harassed him to do the video, and so he was like very, very, very reluctantly like made this microwave that only works when you scream at it, and it runs off of scream power. And he like brought it out in public, and he like tries to make people scream in it and say like, isn't this exhausting? And people are like actually enjoying it, and he goes, no, this is not what I intended. Please stop having fun. That one is really good. And also his video where, like I said, the Roomba that screams when it bumps into things, because then he brings it to a target. Oh boy. he like brings it into this target, and it like starts to bump into shit, but he has to set it up beforehand, so he's standing in an aisle like trying to set up this Roomba. And the guy who's filming is like, it looks like a bomb, and he goes, Don't say that shit. Like,
In a
we're in
Target.
a public place. You can't say that.
In a public Target. Holy shit. That's
He
insane.
harasses at Target. It's really good. You should definitely watch Michael Reeves. It's very, very good.
Okay.
He's been yelled at by the managers there. It's such good content.
Ooh, we love it.
Highly recommend. And then Simone Gertz is definitely like, she is the queen of this stuff, and she's definitely been the one that like really, really set the tone for this and like kind of defined the genre. That doesn't even really have a name, but like she is the one who like really got a lot of these people interested in robotics and like creating content and actually making money off of this as well, because like she actually was able to turn this YouTube following really, really effectively into a sponsorship opportunity for all these random ass companies and like do all kinds of cool things. So that's where like she had kind of bridged content creators and really talented individuals with corporations who were willing to sponsor and, you know, just use that as like an opportunity for themselves to like promote themselves as well. So, you know, that's something that I think YouTube has been having like a lot of problems with recently.
Right.
And I think it's always been something that, you know, no matter what genre of YouTube video that you're watching, that's always something that comes up at some point.
For sure.
But she has always effectively been able to make money and monetize the whole platform, even though she like curses 90% of the time and like does whatever the fuck she wants and like has very strong political opinions, which I mostly agree with, so I really enjoy it. And she like is very outspoken about the stuff that matters to her, but she always makes it work, and you know, it's always really nice to support her and nice to see her like thrive, because like she's faced adversity with like the whole brain cancer thing, which was just wild to follow, and then like having her come back is like amazing, and I love it. I'm very excited for all her new stuff.
Awesome. Also, a woman in STEM,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
She was also in this, so apparently she had like lived in China and lived and had studied there, so she had at the time spoken some Chinese.
Right.
And so she got hired by a local like Chinese drama series to play this white character that like guest appears on the show, and so there are clips of her like speaking Chinese on this drama series as like an extra character, and it's
That's
so
so
funny,
funny.
and she's just like, my Chinese is so butchered, but they accept me and love me anyway.
That's so good. Literally love that.
Incredible stuff. Thank you for having me. Do you want to talk about BookTube?
It's half of your podcast.
Thank you for having me as a guest, Liz, on your podcast.
No, this is not my podcast. Okay. Let's just jump right into what I have to talk about.
Tell me about it.
So, I'm going to talk about BookTube, which is a part of YouTube where people read books, talk about books.
Nerds.
It's literally just a bunch of nerds reading and talking about, you know, these books that they love or hate. They don't discriminate. But, yeah. So there are several tiers to BookTube, which is interesting because it's a really, really niche community. And it's like this, like, I actually, relatively speaking, like, I don't know how big it is in terms of, like, the overall girth of YouTube itself. But, like, I think it is kind of super small, which is, like, why it's interesting to me that there's 3 very specific tiers of BookTube. So,
I hate that you said girth. That's disgusting. I need you to take that shit back, Chief.
Normalize the word girth.
No.
Hashtag normalize it.
I'm gonna oppress you. I'm gonna oppress you for saying the word girth.
That's homophobic.
Bitch.
Okay, so the tiers of BookTube go like this.
I didn't know there were tiers. This is insane. Like, I watch some BookTube, but like, I don't think I'm
It's
in
crazy.
it enough.
It's crazy. So there's top tier BookTube, which is like over 100K subscribers. And those are like big time, sponsored by Simon & Schuster, Penguin. They get sent like free shit constantly. They get like Book Outlet, which is like a very cheap website where you can get like fairly new releases for like dirt cheap, which is so great.
Mm-hmm.
They're like sponsored by them. They're given like gift cards and like they do hauls to like talk about what they get. And like this past summer I attended BookCon and Book Expo in New York City, which is like where all these like big publishers go. And they have booths and they do like a bunch of giveaways and like you get a bunch of swag and there's a ton of like panels and author signings. So, and like a lot of these content creators go to that and like they had their own panel and there was actually a BookTube panel that kind of talked about like how to get your channel started and like how to kind of become these like top tier channels,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting to me because most of these YouTubers that fall into the top tier don't actually create content that I'm very interested in. Yeah. So BookTube is interesting because it's like there's a very I haven't run into a ton of channels where everyone reads like adult contemporary or like adult fantasy, adult mystery or whatever.
So what's the genre that they read then?
It's generally young adult fantasy.
Okay.
They're super into authors.
That seems very specific.
Like Sarah J. Maas. Brandon Sanderson is also a fantasy author, but he's more adult fantasy, which so, like, maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of people on BookTube that I started off with read a ton of young adult and a ton of young adult fantasy. And, like, it was super hard getting into the genre of video because they read all of this, because, like, that's not the kind of books that I like. Like, right. I don't generally read fantasy. My mother just stepped into my room and then she skirted out. Sorry.
Hi, Nancy.
I love her. She's the greatest. I'm very much into, you know, adult contemporary, adult romance. Like, fantasy literally bores the shit out of me. I can't read sci-fi. Like, it's kind of bad. But, yeah, so I found it really hard to like get into that stuff. And then once you start really kind of looking at the second tier content creators, like that's where I really started to find the channels that like were super interesting to me. So I would say those channels are anywhere from like 50,000 to 10,000 subscribers. Like not super small, but like not hundreds of thousands of subscribers.
Right.
So the channel that I specifically want to talk about today falls into that tier of like not a super big booktuber, but like big enough that she has 30,000 subscribers. She gets sponsorships and like reads books that are generally more in my realm of interest and is creating content that's like not overdone. So with booktube content, there are very specific videos that everyone makes. Literally every single booktuber, you can go on any booktuber channel and like see this content. And those videos are videos like book hauls, like what did I buy at the bookstore today, and like here's all the books that I'm doing, which like are satisfying in their own right and like do hold a very special place in my heart because I like love seeing what other people buy always.
Yeah. It's like haul videos. It's like unboxing videos.
That's
like
exactly
it's the same. It itches the same scratch.
Absolutely. So like they'll do like book unboxing and book hauls. But every single booktube creator has one of those videos for sure. Has multiple of those videos. They always do like, here's my to be read for the month. They call it a TBR. And like,
There y'all go.
there you go.
There y'all go with that fucking lingo and shit.
The
No
booktube
sense,
lingo, you know
nobody
what's
else.
Just a string of letters that don't mean shit to anyone else except me.
Y'all be like TGIFGNLRP.
Just actually keep giving me books because I'm going to keep reading them. That's what it's short for. This is silly.
Simon & Schuster, keep sponsoring me, you fucking cowards.
They'll always do like wrap-ups for the month of like books that they read. But I think like people who create content for BookTube are beginning to realize that like this has been beat to death. Nobody actually wants to watch the same video over and over and over and over and over again.
Or like bookshelf tours.
Okay. I'm kind of trash for bookshelf tours, not even gonna lie. But the thing with bookshelf tours is that you have to like wait 3 years between doing them because like how often are your bookshelves changing?
I mean, I don't know about these people, but like mine changes constantly.
I mean,
Yours changes pretty frequently too, if I think about it. But then, like, if you were to say like over the span of like our friendship, like how many times has it changed? Like, not that often. So it's not like a reliable source of like content.
Exactly. Like if I had done a bookshelf tour of when we first became friends and like I first started like literally buying books like an absolute feral bastard, like if I made a video then and then I made a video now, it would be completely different. And like that's kind of what I mean when I say that like you have to wait X amount of years to film another one because it's just like, oh, you're going to do a bookshelf tour once a year. And I don't know. How much can your shelves change in over a year? You know, it's going to be the same shit from last year, except like here's 50 more new books.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So this creator, her name is Chandler Ainsley. She is this Southern girl who lives with her fiance and these two beautiful ragdoll cats. And she reads a ton of adult romance.
Mm-hmm.
Ton of adult romance. She will dabble in like young adult romance and like young adult contemporaries and like pretty much keeps up with like recent releases, but like that's not her entire channel.
Mm-hmm.
And out of every booktuber I've watched online, she has the most interesting content I have ever seen and like has the most like original ideas that I've ever seen, which is like so exciting for me to like see people being interesting talking about books that aren't just like, here's a book that I got and this is what I thought about it.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so she does a couple series that I'm so into and I'm like so excited every time I get a notification in my subscription box. But she does this series called I Read 5, where she'll pick like a very niche topic to read 5 books on. Mm-hmm. So her most recent one is that she read 5 mass market romance paperbacks, like the ones you get at Stop and Shop and like CVS.
Oh my god.
Reads them all, talks about them, and like says whether or not she actually thinks they're good or whether or not they're trash. She did another one that's like I Read 5 Women Loving Women novels, which I was so happy to see, and actually got a couple of recommendations off the video, and I read one and it was so good, so I was like, this is great and cute. She did like reading 5 cozy Christmas titles for the holidays and just like kind of putting herself in the situation where she's like forcing herself to read things that she wouldn't normally read, which I think creates the most interesting content and is also like fun and inspiring. Like I want to do that. Like I want to force myself to read like stupid shit that I wouldn't normally read. She also has another series called Taste Test where she will take 5 favorites from her favorite booktubers So, like, one of them was one of her friends, another one was, like, a booktuber that she, like, really looked up to, and, like, she'll take their top 5 favorites, and we'll read all of them and, like, see if their tastes align. Which, again, is fun because it's like, oh, I'm reading something that I don't normally read, and, like, I'm gonna see, like, if we're compatible in our book tastes, which I think is pretty funny.
Oh, that's so nice.
It really, really is. It's just, like, fun, interesting content. And she also did her top 5 lowest rated books on her Goodreads TBR shelf, which I had done 2 years ago and ended up liking, like, 2 out of the 5 that I read, which I was shocked about. Because I was like, all of these are rated super low.
Okay, so the challenge is to take the user-rated, like, the lowest user-rated books, and then read... Okay, the lowest 5.
I didn't really explain it well, but so there's this website and app called Goodreads, where you can, like, track your, like, reading goals and, like, what you've read throughout the year, and, like, you can add books that you want to read, and it'll add to your want to read shelves online. And it's all, like, user generated ratings, and, like, people write reviews. So what I had done is that I scanned in all the books on my shelves that I wanted to read, and I sorted them based on user rating, and I took the top 5 lowest rated ones and forced myself to read them.
Wow.
Yeah,
Shit.
it was... Yeah, so I learned that I actually hate the author Gregory Maguire, who wrote Wicked. 2 of his books were on the top 5 lowest rated. 2 of them.
So this is not just, like, this is other people, like, who have read his books and rated it and been like, this is trash, and it was, like, the lowest on your bookshelf.
Yes. So the lowest one was, I think, this Alice in Wonderland retelling.
Jesus.
Which is
off to a rough start.
So fucking overdone. Literally so overdone. And I hate Alice in Wonderland. I literally cannot stand Alice in Wonderland.
It's exactly what you're saying. It's beat to death. It's been done over and over again. And I mean, we all know that it's Disney that, like, having a chokehold on fucking content and, like, what is public domain and what isn't. But at the same time, we can all make the conscious decision to let this thing die. Lewis Carroll does not deserve the amount of recognition that he's getting for this story.
Rolling in his grave because he's like, please stop beating it to death, please. I'm begging you. So
let it die.
I read that. It was absolutely horrific. I couldn't physically read it because my eyeballs would close the second I opened the book. I'm not even kidding you. So I forced myself to listen to it on audio. Just as bad. This book killed me, though, because it was told from the perspective of Alice's best friend. And...
Who? The Mad Hatter?
No, I don't remember her name. No, like a human girl. And the whole plot is literally the same thing as Alice in Wonderland. Alice falls down the rabbit hole, and this bitch chases after her and is like, I should also go down the rabbit hole.
What kind of retcon fucking... Alice's real best friend would just be like, Alice fucking gone. This bitch
literally
dead.
Down a
she
hole.
fell down a hole. She's gone. She's donezo, baby.
The kicker, though, is that I was about 150 pages into the book before the bitch even fell down the hole. Okay? 150 pages of worthless content. Okay? That's literally it. She starts falling down the hole, and I remember listening to one of the lines, and it was like, as she was falling, her back brace rips off her body, and I was like, what? She's wearing a back brace?
Wait, Alice or the girl?
No, the friend.
Oh.
But I was like, not once in this book had it been mentioned that she wears a back brace. Until she's falling down this hole.
I can see every English teacher that he's ever had just, like, fucking rolling in their fucking graves, going, why the fuck? did we teach you English if you were gonna do exactly what we told you not to do, which is set up. Like, you need setup for everything. Like, you can't just have payoff with no setup.
Make the character walk in front of a mirror and go, wow, I am deformed because I need a back brace. Like, and that's how you let the audience know that this girl isn't a back brace. Like, hello?
Stop.
So yeah, so I finished that. I was like, I will literally never read anything by him again. And then I tried to read the second book on my TBR by him, which was a Christmas Carol X Jack the Ripper story. Combined the two. I don't know how. I literally don't know how. I got 40 pages in and did not finish it.
Jesus.
I was like, I can't torture myself with this.
I don't understand, like, how do you...
Like, why? Why do you do that? Why do you want to do that?
Who's your dealer?
Literally, he's on crack. And I was like, I will never read Wicked because I cannot be bothered. I won't be bothered.
Also, like, what? The musical already exists. I'm sure they got it down just fine.
Well, the musical is based on this book.
I know, but, like, I'm just saying, like, if it's a good enough adaptation, I don't need to read.
Like, why read it when you can just watch it?
Especially after your review.
Yeah, I was like, this is ass. I can't fucking do this.
And, like, it's not just you. It's literally probably, like, what, millions of people that use Goodreads and, like, reading all these books and going, like, oh, well, he did Wicked, so... And then reading it and being like, oh!
Yeah.
Maybe not.
He's actually a bad author. Like, do not read this.
It's so interesting that you had described Goodreads that way because, like I said, like, I am illiterate. No, I know how to read, but, like, I don't read as many books as you do, not by any stretch of the imagination. And the way that I use these apps and, like, function in this space is very different in that, like, I'm very non-committal. So, like, for me, if someone were to ask me, like, what is Goodreads, I'd be like, oh, it's that website that you go to when you, like, can't think of the exact quote from a book, but it, like, some user always puts on the quote verbatim on there.
Yeah, you can do, yeah.
Like, I was trying to remember a quote from a book that, like, I had read years ago, and I just started fucking typing it in, like, some bastardized version of the quote, and also the work, and lo and behold, 7 Goodreads users have posted it on Goodreads, all separately, for some odd reason. But thank the Lord that they took that time to set that quote aside and highlight it, because God knows no one else is reading Herman Hesse, but a bunch of Goodreads users.
Siddhartha, is that what you're reading?
Oh my god, yeah, that's exactly it.
I have a really pretty copy of it. I'll never read it.
It's really good, you should read it. And also, that was a quote that I was trying to pull, and I totally butchered it when I had tried to quote it. And then I, thank God Goodreads exists, because all those users.
That's really funny you say that, because I use Goodreads heavily for, like, tracking, like, progress on books that I'm reading and, like, tracking the number of books that I read every year. Mm-hmm. But for Christmas, I got my girlfriend a copy of The Road, which is my favorite book. Yes. Or one of my favorite books. And I, like, wrote on the inside cover this, like, long, cheesy note and was like, here's this book that I love, and I love you, and I want you to read this book so we could talk about it, whatever. So I was like, I want to, like, write a quote from this book, like I want to write, like, a lovey, like, cheesy quote from the book onto the cover. Mm-hmm. So I was on Goodreads, like, frantically scrolling through the quotes, and I think it was the first time definitely not the first time, but, like, the first time in a long time that I used that feature on Goodreads.
I think it's a pretty popular feature, though, because, like, there are, if you look up any poet on Goodreads, there are probably at least 100 search results for quotes that are being pulled from these, like, authors' works and stuff, that people just take the time to be like, this is a quote that I really like. And I don't know why that section exists, but it's like so prominent, and there's so many users that are on there, and they're all like, this is beautiful, this is fucking phenomenal, this is absolutely wonderful, I need everyone to read this, please. Just look at this quote, thanks. Don't even read the book. Look at my Goodreads profile, thanks.
I wonder if you can go on Goodreads and like look up a contemporary poet and like go through the quote section and just read a whole poetry book without actually having to buy it because people are just quoting it.
I did.
You know what I'm saying?
Ruby Car, I'm never buying fucking Milk and Honey when I can just read the Goodreads quotes.
I wasn't gonna say her name because I didn't want to give her publicity on this podcast that no one listens to. I guess if you have to.
Like it's just such low-hanging fruit. Like, there's no way that we will ever contribute to her publicity. If anything, like, there are people who are more than happy to die for her for whatever odd fucking reason.
God, I fucking
for fucking poetry that's literally etched on the side of a sidewalk somewhere, and they're like the fucking Banksy of poetry books.
Literally trash. Anyway, yeah, so I love this YouTuber, and I think she's literally great and extremely funny. Her cats are great. She does a lot of like reading blogs and like the I Read Fives or the taste test videos. So the cats are always in it.
Aww.
She does like readathons too, which are like specific. So a readathon
y'all with these fucking words.
A readathon is like one of these booktubers will be like, okay, so we're gonna read however many books with like this certain criteria. So like for Halloween they did like a spooky readathon, and they were like, okay, read one with a ghost and read one with a monster and read one with a vampire kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like you have a week to do it.
Oh Jesus.
So she like will vlog that.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of content creators will also vlog, but I like hers because there's cats. Her cats are. She also does like videos on how to like build your channel and like how do I make creative videos and like how do I edit my thumbnails, and like she'll watch her old videos and be like, why did I do this? And she also does like book clubs. Like at the beginning of the month she'll be like, okay, we're gonna read this book for the month of January, and then like if you want to read it you can read it, and then she'll do like a live stream and like we'll talk about it.
Aww.
Which is
That's
fun.
so cute.
Because, you know, involving the community and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's also just like a really good community of people. Like they're all so nice. I met 3 of my favorite at the time over the summer at that book con, and these 3, Hannah, Zoe, and Haley, were all doing a book club, and I would watch it, and like just 3 of them were so funny and like so chaotic, but just like also just a very pure friendship and like talking about books, and I don't know. So I met all of them. They were so sweet. They were like, oh my god, thank you for saying hello. And I was like, you guys are 20 years old and I'm 23, but I'm obsessed with you. And yeah, it's just like good, nice content that I like to watch. Gets me book recommendations, inspires me to keep reading.
Yeah, that's so nice. I think it's also like something to be said about like booktubers who actually challenge themselves in a way. Like it makes it more interesting, and like like you kind of know the opinions that they're gonna have on certain genres, but watching them kind of like take on new forms of like books and like different pieces and whatnot, and like just like having them push themselves is, like you said, like a way to for you to challenge yourself in like what you read and like your conventions and like break out of those barriers. And it always makes for like interesting content for like someone who is not used to something to doing something that like they're otherwise not used to.
Totally. Like Chandler did a taste test for one of her really good friends, who is also kind of this like verging on the edge of big booktuber, but like not like hundreds of thousands of subscribers, who's really into thrillers. So she read 5 thrillers and was like, okay, I've never read the genre and now I'm obsessed. Like,
That's so
it's just
fun.
It's just like,
I think it's interesting because like the concept of booktube is almost like kind of made fun of outside of the community because it's like a bunch of book nerds who like it's almost like this different genre. It's like people don't expect it to translate well to YouTube or a video format where it's like almost interactive with a community, but like it's just a bunch of people who read books, and there's just so many books out there and so many different genres and like
so many books.
So many books. Everyone's just fucking writing. Cicero is fucking having stroke thinking about all the fucking people who can now read, which I don't know why, I just remember that shit, is that like he was like, if people can read then the world is doomed, but
well, here
people
we are,
can
all
read.
literate.
Turns out being literate is fucking great, and like everyone is writing books, but it's great. Like there's a lot of great books out there, and like I really do wish I had more time to read it all. And it's interesting how much content you can get just out of like the culture of reading books. And I know you said that like you mentioned it's a niche community, but it's not like, it is pretty small in that like the largest booktube channels are not reaching like several millions of people. Like it's within like hundreds of thousands, and it's usually the same people who are like just subscribed to multiple booktubers, and so in that way it's like pretty small in terms of like the pool of people that you can possibly reach. Like if you're really trying to be famous on YouTube, booktube would not be anyone's like I think first choice. It involves a lot of work.
Oh my god, it's so much work. It's so much time.
Yeah, exactly. Like the payout for it, it's like not a lot compared to some of the other genres that you could get into. Like just eating in front of a camera will probably garner you a lot more quick, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like it's just there's a lot of ways to like use that time to effectively make content, but booktube is just like really appealing to a very specific audience, and it's interesting how these people have been able to turn the genre into something that's more than just like reviewing books, like you had mentioned. Like it's not just reviewing books, but it's also about like challenging yourself and like getting yourself into it and engaging with a community and creating this community of people who are like reading together and sharing ideas and like, you know, discussing all of this stuff. So it's more than just we read a book and then we discuss it. Like it's more than just a book club in a traditional sense, but it's also like far enough removed where you can like enjoy the content without having to read every single book that a booktuber has like read.
Totally. I will say that there's this like one aspect of booktube that like kind of makes me angry, in that, you know, you have this platform and you have like this mostly goes for like bigger booktubers, like the like top tier booktubers, that you have this platform and it like gives you the means to get a book published.
I was wondering if you were going to talk about that.
Well, here I am talking about it because it makes me mad.
Because they're not good.
No, they're not. So that's what makes me mad about that, is because like there are really great authors out there, and there are definitely probably really, you know, talented booktubers who can write, and like I'm sure they're out there somewhere. But like for those who have been published and have used their platform as a means to get their work out there and like get their work printed, the content's not good, and it's like just poorly written, young adult, and I don't want to drop names because I feel kind of bad, but why do I feel bad? No one's listening to this. There's this book called Zenith, written by Sasha Alsberg, and she was like one of the first booktubers I ever watched, only because like she was like very fun, very spunky. But like I cannot stomach a single video of hers at this point in my life because it's just like so immature and like so disinteresting to me. And like she wrote this book with one of her friends, and it's this like sci-fi book, and it's notoriously bad. Like, it's so bad. And like other booktubers, like middle tier booktubers, have read it and talked about it, and like have been like, this book is bad and whatever. And I feel like the community that booktube creates is like so great, wherein you like make all these friends, and like you have all these like similar tastes, and you can read together, and you can talk about books together, and you can collab. But it also creates this environment where it's like someone creates this content and this like piece of media, and like it's not good. People are buying it because she's popular on booktube. People are going to read it because they're like, oh, we love Sasha, her channel's great, we're going to read her content. And like you're going to have her friends on booktube read the book, and like it's not going to be the best book of the year, but they're still going to be like, Sasha wrote this book, so it's good. And like that makes me angry.
Yeah, because it's just like the process of publishing a book is so arduous, and I only know a lot about it because, like, first of all, did NaNoWriMo and like looked into it, obviously, and then second of all, Lindsay Ellis had actually recently posted about a book that she is getting published, and she was like, I promise you, like, I did not get this book published through my YouTube channel, even though I have more than, like, I think she has like a really, really significant following. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but she has this like really strong, really loyal following on YouTube and a bunch of other platforms as well. Just like from being a big YouTube star, she's worked with a lot of different channels. She was involved with like Channel Awesome, which was best known for their stuff with the Nostalgia Critic. And she played the counterpart, and like it was just like this whole thing where she had like built this audience, but actually chose to publish the book by traditional means, which was actually like getting a literary agent and like going through publishing and like pitching this book to people. And like after 10 years of doing it, she finally got a book deal, and she was like, I can promise you, like, even though I am promoting it on my channel, like, it is from my own sheer hard work and, like, dedication to writing a good book that I am actually getting published now, and not through my channel, because, like, if I had gone through my channel, it would not have been a good piece of work. Like, not skipping the whole part of getting, like, apparently, if you use your channel to get a book deal, like, they'll just sign you on, and then you have to consolidate the entire process of actually, like, going through the literary agent, which is where they do a lot of the editing, a lot of the actual feedback that is really, really valuable to a book being really good. That all gets cut out and subverted to, well, this is just going to be about selling, so we don't care if it's a good book anymore. So, you know, like you said, even though they might be good writers, like, because they're subverting the process in the hopes and, like, means of just getting published and being like, oh, I'm a published author, like, the pride of being a published author isn't worth selling out your audience and, like, writing a book that's not going to be good. Right.
I think that also holds true to, like, other YouTubers, like, I'm drawing a blank, but, like, Gabby Hanna, who can't sing or write and, like, is literally a worse poet than Rupi, is, like, getting poetry books published, and it's trash.
And they're artists who are, like Lang Leave, who also is, got super famous on Tumblr, is now a published author and, like, has novels and poetry books, and I hate all of them because they're trash.
Right. I mean, it's like sifting through garbage. It's kind of like, all right.
Quite literally. And, like, the reason why a lot of authors who have been published get these fast book deals, like, and get signed on to write a second book or, like, write a sequel, is because they've been through the process of publication, they've done the hard work, and they know a lot about how it's supposed to come out, so they can be put on a tight deadline like that and come up with something that's a lot more to par than someone who hasn't actually gone through that process, who has subverted the process in favor of slapping on the title of published author on their fucking LinkedIn profile,
Exactly.
and are put to the same kind of standards, and so they keep pumping out this like subpar work, and you're just like, you would think that getting a $1 million book deal would make you a better author, but it doesn't. It's just that, like, because the first one sold so well, we're giving you a second book deal, but actually nothing has changed, and you're still a shitty author.
Right.
And
which I think is exactly what happened with Sasha, because she wrote, Zenith, and it popped off because people were like, oh my god, it's Sasha, and we're going to read her book, and now she has a sequel coming out, and it's like, the first book was ass, why would you make her write a sequel? But it's like, you're obviously making money off of it because
the
trash rats are going to read it.
Quite literally, like, stan culture has really destroyed the quality of some works, but like the other thing is, like, when people are just reading something because, or like even any kind of media, like when they're just engaging because it's someone that they like rather than like for the quality of whatever is being produced, like.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that applies anywhere.
It truly does. Like, I was so into Once Upon a Time, and we know this, I was Once Upon a Time trash. Actually, I was trash for quite a number of like female actresses. At one point or another. And, like, when I became obsessed, I would literally watch their entire filmography, like, regardless of how good, movies, shows are.
Oh, yeah,
like,
I'm guilty of that, too.
Binge, like, shit content because I was obsessed. So, I guess this is the same thing, but for, like, booktubers.
That is literally the only reason why I watched Elementary, was because Lucy Liu was in it, and then it turned out to be an actually good show.
You're like, oh, this content is good?
I was like, oh, I'm not used to, like, watching things because I stan someone and then actually enjoying the thing that I'm watching them for. Like, I'm never used to it being like, oh, I'm actually watching this because it's good. I'm watching it because X, Y, or Z is in it. So, like, Lucy Liu was in Elementary, and I was like, oh, shit, this slaps.
Yeah.
This slaps. Give me more of this.
You're so funny. So that's my piece.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing and enlightening me, because me coming into this, I was like, BookTube is a bunch of nerds who read the same book and then they talk about it like a big old stupid book club.
One giant book club.
One giant book club. I mean, that would be fun, and it is to a certain extent, but there's a lot more than just like we all read the same book and then we come back and reconvene.
How interesting could that content really be?
Yeah. Like, for how long could you watch and make that content and really make a living off of it? But, like, after hearing about what you talked about, like, it really does sound like a lot is going on here, and I really find that interesting. So I definitely plan on subscribing soon.
Oh, are you now? It's also, one last point, it's also interesting to talk about this because there seems to be, like, a rise in, like, more of that interesting, like, content. Like, more of the, like, forcing myself to read, like, my lowest rated, and, like, making myself read, like, books from my 6th grade childhood, and, like, silly, like, interesting stuff like that is more commonplace now than it has ever been. And I feel like there's this, like, almost fall to, like, the big YouTubers, and more of a rise of these, like, middle tier YouTubers that are creating the content that's, like, more interesting to watch. So
the bourgeoisie shall fall.
The birds work for the bourgeoisie.
David and Goliath.
Yeah. So that was my spiel on BookTube. I tried to be a BookTuber once. It didn't really work, but. Oops.
You can still do it.
It's just hard. I'm tired. We went to Montreal in August. It's literally January 21st, and I'm just getting to editing this vlog that we filmed.
Editing is so hard. I don't know how anyone does it.
It's so arduous. Oh
my god. Incredibly so. That's the only reason I have any respect for Gavin.
Exactly. It's like so crazy.
It's fucking nuts.
Like finding music and shit. What?
God, no. So you had posed a question, and I don't remember what that question was. It was, well, you had said something about title and creators, and I really blanked out.
So if you take the creator that you brought in, one of the creators that you brought in, and I'll take the creator that I brought in, and if we force them to do a collab, what would the video be, and what would the title of that video be?
Okay, so I'm going to bring in Simone Gertz.
And I talked about Chandler Ainsley.
Okay, so the queen of making shitty robots.
And the queen of, like, let's say, reading 5 of a certain type of book.
Okay. They would... Okay, so the collab video would be like, Simone would be like, how can I make a... I'm going to make a shitty robot that will turn the pages for you and force you to speed read, so that way you can get through your 5 books as quickly as possible.
I was just thinking that. Like a robot that will, like, flip pages for her.
Yes, exactly.
So she could, like, eat.
And like, sit in a bathtub. And, like, not have to think about it and can just, like, sit down and, like, read this book.
Wow, I literally love that.
Yeah, so what's the title gonna be?
I read 5 sci-fi books while my robot flips the pages for me.
Yes, I love that.
It's so stupid.
Featuring Simone Gertz.
This girl is literally insane. I'm gonna keep talking because I just love hearing myself talk. But I thought so. You thought that I read a lot of books this past year? I read 55 total books in the year of 2019. This girl literally read 175 books in 2019.
I don't think I've read that many books in my lifetime.
Me neither. I don't have that many books on my reads. Like, that's actually insane. She listens to audiobooks. So when I listen to audiobooks, I listen to them on 2 times speed. Mm-hmm. So a 14-hour audiobook is essentially a 7-hour audiobook.
Oh my god.
She listens to them on 3 times speed. That, like, is not something that I can listen to. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
I've never listened to an audiobook ever, so I don't know what it's like.
It's weird.
I don't like it because I can barely even listen to podcasts without, like, pausing it 15 minutes in and going, I want to listen to music.
Yeah, I have trouble doing that too, but, like, I do arts and crafts, so, like, when I arts and crafts, I listen to podcasts, or I listen to audiobooks.
Wow, you're an artist.
Shut up.
Commission Liz at Threading and Wildflowers.
At threading_and_wildflowers on Instagram.com. Thank you.
Why did you include the .com, you fucking boomer?
I also just started weaving. I have a loom now. I have 2 little...
Liz is also 900 years old.
I drink gin and tonics when I go out, so...
That is false. That is false.
Yes, I do.
Do you really?
You
truly are 900 years old.
There was one time we went out. It was to Cubbyhole.
You drink a gin and tonic at Cubbyhole, a lesbian bar? You really are 900 years old. Jesus Christ, Stonewall is calling.
We went to a
want their
lesbian
fucking
bar.
brick back.
Listen, so we go to this bar, and I didn't want a vodka cran, which is what I usually drink. And I was like, what other liquor do I know of? And then I was like, gin is the only one.
Tanqueray.
I got gin and tonic, and then I switched to vodka crans, and then I switched to...
Greyhounds.
Vodka grapefruit?
Greyhounds, yeah.
Yeah, those are good.
Those are good, they're just, like, expensive.
Well, I mean, I feel like every mixed drink is expensive.
Yeah, that's true. I think Cubbyhole charges more.
What?
I think Cubbyhole specifically charges more for a Greyhound, because I'm pretty sure he charged me $8 for a Greyhound, as opposed to a whiskey ginger, which is my usual drink of choice, was only $5. But I think it's because that's, like, bottom shelf whiskey that I always ask for. I'm always just like, give me the shit that you put on the ground. You don't even put on a fucking shelf.
That's so disgusting.
Oh yeah, it's mad gross.
We go to this bar that's a little trash. It's like in a basement of a building, dark.
Are you talking about Blue and Gold?
Yes.
My home?
Cash only. Literally so cheap and also garbage, but the best time.
Oh my god, yeah. Like, the mixed drinks there are also $5.
Literally every drink there is $5.
No, the beers are $3.
Yeah, but it's like brands you've never heard of before.
Yeah, they're disgusting. It's
I'm like,
literally
what is
the
this
grossest
piss water?
shit. There's one light bulb in the back.
Literally one light bulb in the whole thing. The last time we were there, some dude fell off a bar stool and was literally laying in the middle of the ground bleeding out, and we were trying to leave, and my drunk ass was like, what happened here? And our friend Shreen was like, okay, let's keep walking. Literally stepping over this man that
We
was
stepped over his
unconscious on the
bleeding
ground.
body. I felt so bad, but I was also way too drunk to be, like, understanding what was happening in any capacity. Like, everyone else seemed to understand immediately. As soon as he fell down, they were like, we understand exactly what's happening. And all I did was, like, realize the fact that someone was on the ground, and that was it. Like, I didn't know if he was alive. I didn't know what was happening. People were just telling me to move, and I was like, I guess we gotta move.
Oh my god, yeah, that was a wild time. I forget about that sometimes, and then I remember, and I'm like, how?
How did all of that happen? Yeah, fucking
Anyway.
nuts.
What should we talk about next time?
Oh yeah, what should we talk about next time? What have you been obsessed with recently?
So I've been watching Grace and Frankie.
Oh, okay. Do you want
Which
to
is
talk about
great.
Netflix shows, or is that too broad?
I don't know. I feel like that's not very, very interesting. Or
Sorry, I just ate, so I'm like trying not to burp on the mic because that's disgusting.
no, give us a good ASMR, baby.
No.
I was thinking we could maybe talk about like old favorites, like old favorite TV shows.
Okay, wait. What is your definition of old? Because like,
So,
here's the
like,
thing: we put the
TV
word
shows
old
that
out
I was-
there.
TV shows that I was obsessed with. So I'm thinking like Once Upon a Time.
Oh, okay, so shows that we used to watch.
Maybe like Tumblr era.
Oh, the ones that we would literally watch an episode of and then jump onto Tumblr to find all the GIF sets that people made.
Yeah, let's talk about like shit we were obsessed with on Tumblr, like TV show edition.
That is so interesting because, like, it's interesting that you bring that up only because I recently re-downloaded Tumblr and have been back on.
Yeah, I've been on it as well.
It's so strange, and like I went through my blog recently and I like was just going through it and I was like, wow, I was really obsessed with some of the stuff that I like don't even remember, and like just like seeing y'all and like seeing some of the old messages and stuff that we would send each other and all the memes, and like some of it still cracks me up. It's so funny.
Yeah,
Like,
some of it's so.
I can't
some of
believe
it's so good.
such great content came from such a hellish site.
Yeah, literally garbage site. I'll save one of the messages that you sent me for next episode, but there's a really good one that you sent me.
Oh no, I'm so scared. Oh no, I don't remember. Fuck.
I'll read
Okay.
it now. So you know how you could like send people anonymous messages? This one's definitely you, but I get one message that says, "What's up, homo?" And then I get a second message that just says queer, but spelt KWEER. And then I get a third message that reads, "I really hope I put anonymous on that last one, otherwise that's a super bad look." And that's coming up on next episode.
That's a sneak preview of the next time. That was definitely me, and I'm so sorry I cyberbullied you like
No,
that.
it's so funny. Oh, I have another anonymous message that says "suck my ass," which is definitely you.
This was 100% me. I went through a phase where that's all I said.
Suck my ass.
Suck my ass.
Okay, anyway, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Tune in next time where we talk about the trash we were obsessed with when we were on Tumblr, TV show edition.
That was like, it's such a specific time, and I want to be clear. Like, we were on Tumblr very actively from like I would say 2012, 13 to like 2015, 16.
Yeah, I think I got my Tumblr 2011.
Really, I think
Yeah.
mine is 2012. but I really was active on it on 2013, and then like the activity is like a plateau from 2013 to 2015, and then downward spiral from there.
Right. Yeah. December 2010 is my first post.
Wow, you were there long ass time.
Yeah. And then was on it all throughout high school, all throughout college, and then we graduated, and I did not come back to it until probably this year.
Yeah. That's so weird, because like I only recently came back to it as well, and it's such a strange return, because like a lot of people that I follow at the time were like deactivated, so I was only following like 50 blogs.
That's so funny.
It's wild, but yeah. Tune in next time, where we talk about shows from specifically that era of time that we used to be obsessed with.
Thanks for listening, as always. Bye.
Bye.